Good afternoon. Welcome to the show Youth Today, Fridays at 2 p.m. Of course, this is AP Radio UK and MZ Radio London. We just want to say a very big thank you to everyone who joins us all the time every week. We really appreciate your presence, and we'll just be doing a bit of review, should I say, or recap of what we've been doing the past few weeks. So we've been looking at a topic called toxic femininity and masculinity. We spent the first week. We spent the first week talking about femininity, the second week talking about masculinity. The third week we had female guests for the femininity bit, and this week, yay, we have our wonderful guest with us to talk with us about toxic masculinity. But before we introduce our guests, let's just talk a bit about what we've been doing. Well, like I said already, last week as well, we've dealt with what we talked about the other weeks. So today I'll just be reminding us of what we did last week. We had female guests on the show, Eniola and Peace, and together they talked about what they think about femininity and how we can solve it. Annie spoke about working moms and stay-at-home moms. She mentioned that a stay-at-home mom might feel a bit what's the word now, indifferent sort of towards a working mom, because there's just this stereotype that women are meant to be in the kitchen taking care of children and all that. So the stay-at-home mom might feel like the working mom, because of her job, isn't putting the children first or isn't properly taking care of the home. But this shouldn't be, especially amongst women. And of course, Peace and she sort of talked more on that topic. She said that sometimes women just bring down each other. They bring down each other. They put each other down. They talk bad about one person and all that, and they try to compete for the heart of a man or just for whoever the men prefer in terms of their dressing and what they have to offer, rather than focusing on things that actually really matter. They just fall out with each other, and that's not supposed to be. We know the men community in quotes to be quite the close one. We believe that men don't really argue a lot. Well, in the world today, we always feel like women have the more problems, and that is because not only are they fighting against the other gender, between themselves as well, where there's supposed to be a sense of familiarity and togetherness, they also quarrel with each other between women to women. So, and try to put each other down to gain favors or anything. And those were some of the things that they spoke about regarding toxic femininity. And when it came to solutions that they can prefer, Annie talked about educating ourselves, because she believes that people don't really know much about toxic femininity. When it comes to toxic masculinity, then we probably all have an idea of what it is. But for femininity, I feel like we've just ignored it. She feels like we've just ignored it over the decades. So, and of course, Peace talked about changing our mindset. So where we can succeed wherever we want to succeed, we can be successful wherever we want to be successful. All we need to do is just think right, and that way, of course, we won't be falling out with each other, and we will not be, too toxic in our whatever it is we do anyways. So that was really everything that we talked about last week, thanks to our beautiful guests. And this week we have a wonderful guest on the show with us. So we'll just allow him to introduce himself real quickly and just tell us a few things about himself. So over to you.
So yes, my name is Lawrence Madakife. Originally from Nigeria, born in Nigeria, bred in the UK. Been here a lot of years. What more can I say about myself? Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. So yeah, I'm really happy to hit this topic. I think this topic it's been going on for quite a few weeks, all around social media. Everywhere you go, you get this whole toxic, masculinity, and it's something that I do really want to talk on. So yeah, thank you guys for having me on this show as well. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We really are grateful for accepting our invitation and coming on the show. And of course, we're very grateful that you are on it as well. And before we go on break, I'll just let my co-host speak for today.
Okay. Well, I think Marvellous said everything, and last week really gave me like a different insight to what toxic, both femininity and masculinity could actually be, because I feel like we're looking at it from one angle before, and then the two guests we had last week kind of shed a new light on it, and it was amazing. And I'm sure that my dearest Lawrence is going to do justice to it as well this week, and we're happy to have him here because I know he's someone that is, I don't say masculine, but I think he'll have enough insight as to what toxic masculinity can be and how it can affect people and how we should change it. I mean, again, he's a lawyer, so what do you expect? So, guys, we do.
When we said you should introduce yourself, why didn't you mention to us that you are a man of the law?
He was humble.
Lawrence, a man of the law.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. I'm not practicing it, but yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have adequate knowledge, a lot of knowledge to it. So we thank God.
Good. Wow, that's very good. Okay, guys. So we'll just in a few minutes in a few seconds, my bad. We will go on the break. But before we do, let's remember that we are talking about toxic masculinity today. So we're literally talking about the opposite of what we spoke about last week. And of course, like we mentioned, our guest will be helping us more after the break. The song that we'll be playing on the break is Bless the Lord by Orpheus and Mr. Soji Harmony. Bless the Lord by Orpheus.
We want to bless the Lord. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and forget not all His benefits, who forgives all our iniquities, who heals all our disease. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and forget not all His benefits, who forgives all our iniquities, who heals all our disease. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. I'm gonna go bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name.
Who redeemed our life from destruction, who crowned us with loving kindness and tender mercies, who satisfy us with good things.
Hi, my name is Marvellous.
And I'm Seun. Join us every Friday at 2 o'clock on Youth Today
as we delve into youth affairs and lifestyle today. We look forward to sharing with you.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you again to our guests, and thank you again for tuning in and joining us on this show today. I mean, excuse my voice, but I'm having some allergies, so I'm sorry if I sound somehow, my nose is really itchy. But yes, like my co-host rightly said before, we have our wonderful guest today, and he's going to be, giving us some insight to toxic masculinity. So, I mean, from last week, I feel like we were able to get a good grasp of what toxic femininity was. So now, Lawrence, so could you just, let us know what you think about toxic masculinity? Is it something that really exists between guys? Is it something that you actually even believe? Or is it something that you feel like can be changed? The narrative can be changed? Or what do you think about toxic masculinity?
Where do we even start with this topic? So with toxic masculinity, can it be changed? It's going to take time, but let me just dive into the introduction of what I would say toxic masculinity is to myself. I think obviously we're all meant to be, we're all men, and we have this little norm about what a man should be or what he ought to be. But then when you get toxic masculinity, it's almost like culture dictates what a man should be. Culture dictates that a man should be. So for me, growing up, I'm meant to know that a man is meant to be strong. He shouldn't be weak. He should be, he should be not aggressive, but he should have power behind him as well. And toxic masculinity just covers a lot more than that. It tells you that, a house, obviously I grew up as an African and I have African men around me as well. It's only probably when I came to the UK that whole toxic masculinity started making, it started decreasing more and more. So I grew up with that whole thing that, how can a man be doing a household chore? How does that even make sense? That's in all, that's toxic masculinity, but that's just a different degree. Maybe some of us won't be able to see it, but that's toxic, that I can't do this, that, when I come back home and the food should be right on my table, or when I say this, that should be the B in all of it. And of course, we all do it. Even me, myself, definitely, I would have, some forms of toxic masculinity, but that's because of what we grew. That's how we grew up. We grew up with that a man should be a man, and that he should have a bit of power. That a woman shouldn't talk down on him, or other people shouldn't talk down on him as well. Sometimes growing up as well, as soon as somebody says something, your fist should be speaking for you. Why would you be using your mouth? Why would you be using your mouth? So a lot of that is that our mouth should talk. Our mouth should just do less, but our fist should talk. In fact, your eyes should even do the talking before your fist has to come into the equation as well. So toxic masculinity, is about, and that form of taking that power that I'm higher than you, I'm better than you, I can do anything to you, and you should just be it. You should allow it because it's who I am. It's basically me as a man. Take it as I'm a man. Culture has said that this is how I should be. In fact, some women have said that's how I should be as well, or for those guys who are toxic, the women expects you to be that. They will tell you, I don't know if I'm going off topic a bit, but
No.
I don't think you are.
They will tell you that, they want a man that is strong, a man that, a man that tells them, this is where you're going wrong. And in some, go on, blessing.
Sorry, I was just going to say that what you just said now, I heard there was a girl one time, she was like, oh, I want a man that can put me in my place. I was like,
oh my God, sorry. I was so shocked.
I only want to be with someone that can put me in my place. So what you're saying is actually totally right, because I said this the first time we had this discussion, and I was like, for toxic masculinity, I feel like sometimes it's born out of toxic femininity, and toxic femininity as well is born out of toxic masculinity. So a woman already has an expectation of how her man should be. Meanwhile, people are shaped, formed, and built by different backgrounds that they grow from, and that's exactly what Lawrence is saying. So sorry for calling you short, Lawrence.
No, that's okay. Like Blessing rightly said, a woman wants a man that can put her in her place. And then if you have the opposite of that kind of man, which would be said to be a quiet man, he's very shy, he's very timid. You will almost see it like, you will see, oh, wow, this woman is walking all over him. And for us as men, you don't want that, and you can't have that. But obviously, like I said, it's culture that dictates this whole toxic masculinity. And where you grow up. I think we find that in the West is a bit less, but you have other forms of this toxic masculinity in the Western world as well. So for example, maybe it's like you pay 100% of all the bills. If you're able to, why not? But then that toxic masculinity is gonna come back and tell you, it's always that whole what do you bring to the table conversation, or the whole I'm building us a house and you want to choose the color of the curtain. Please, how much did you choose how much you put in there for you to be choosing the color of the curtain? So that's what this whole toxic masculinity is. And for me, well, that's what it is anyway. And for us to avoid it, definitely is down to, it's not even down to culture, it's down to maybe just a little bit of the ladies, because men are very flexible. Ladies don't understand that. Men are flexible a lot, but it depends on what the lady is, what we're getting from the ladies. You get from the ladies that if you're just a little bit soft, ooh, she'll finish you in a minute. She'll climb all over you. It wouldn't even take a second. It wouldn't take a second. So it's almost that we're doing it for ladies. We do it for other men, but men don't do things for other men as much. Well, that's only to do with cars, money, and everything else. But a lot of things we do is to basically, put ourselves in a higher place for the ladies. So I don't know if it's the ladies changing a little bit that could make us change a little bit as well there too.
So can I just ask a quick question to Lawrence? So what you're trying to say now, is it like you feel like men bend their standards and sort of like sacrifice a lot of things to fit in the woman's idea of an ideal man? Is that what you're trying to say? For example, let me give an example so you understand my question. So a woman wants, like Blessing said, she wants someone who can put her in a... That one, I don't know if she's looking for a father or she's looking for a boyfriend. I don't know what she's looking for.
I know myself. I need someone that can put me in my place. I say, wow.
Why does she want to be put in her place? She can't put herself in her place. It's so funny. I don't even know what to say to that. But for example, that kind of person now, when she gets when she finds a boyfriend or a partner, and he's not someone that can put people in their place, he's just a very calm, gentle man, does that mean that you feel like there's every probability that that man would want to change his attitude just to suit her own ideas? Is that what you're trying to say?
The thing is that it's going to be a conversation of, babe, you're not tough enough. Babe, you don't this enough. He's going to be hearing it a lot of the time. Okay. Babe, you don't do this. And then he's going to be thinking, if I now do it, does she now think, okay, yes, he's actually a strong man. He's actually a man's man. I can't, when you put her in her place once, she's not going to come back again to be put back in that same place. As soon as you put her in her place once, she's not going to be coming back again to be put in her place. So it's almost like if she sees that, all right, you've met him as a quiet man, a humble man, if you might say, somebody who hasn't got that toxic masculinity all over him, but now you want him to have it. You want him to be more rough with you. You want him to be stronger with you. You want him to be more bossy towards you, but that's not how you met him. The likeliness of it is that he's going to change just to please you, especially if the man is in love with you. He would want to change. He'll be like, okay, this is the kind of man she wants. This is the kind of man she wants, but it's only when she now gets it that she realizes that this is not actually what I want in that man.
Okay. I even feel like to an extent, frustration can set in, like the fact that you keep bickering and say how some people can be. I don't say women as well, because men can also do that. If you're not meeting up to a certain standard and you like this person, you keep on bringing it up whenever the person falls short of your standard. And to an extent, frustration can push you to an extent where you kind of actually flip on that person. And it's not like you actually wanted to change, but when you see you flipping on that person, kind of made the person calm down and say, oh, okay, put me in my place. Yes, okay. And then it becomes a different thing. So sometimes the extent to which you like somebody can make you, it's just like a compromise, can make you change to a certain extent or modify certain things to a certain extent to me.
Also, I was even going to ask as well, when Lawrence finished talking, that what do you think about it, Seun, that if when it comes to toxic femininity, do you also think that some women go out of their way to kind of suit their man's ideal type? Or
Definitely.
So does that mean that what do you both of you think now? This is me. I feel like I'm now the viewer asking a lot of questions, but what do the both of you now think when it comes to this? Because do you think we should the compromising or the sacrificing in the relationship now in these situations, do you think it's okay for us to compromise or sacrifice just to suit the ideal type? Or do you think we should be more open-minded when going into a relationship and not think too much so we don't frustrate the right person that comes our way? What do you think about that?
I kind of like now it has switched from toxic masculinity to relationship, but
Well, it's because you
yeah,
can
I feel like
see.
we're threading the same lines
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but for me, I feel like to an extent, toxic masculinity and toxic femininity has widespread definitions. Like what will be toxic to you might not be toxic to me. Of course, there's the generic ones, yeah, but I feel like what you said is right. Being more open-minded when you're entering into a relationship and know that different backgrounds have shaped different people. Like the way you are is not as a result of you just deciding to be like that. Sometimes it's what you grew up as seeing normal and all of that. So a good conversation between in a relationship now, a good conversation between both parties is good. So the dynamics of somebody's relationship might be toxic to another person, but really that is what they've agreed to be like. But then it becomes overboard when it gets to the issue of you cannot say that we agreed between each other. We're in a relationship and we agreed between each other that because I'm the man, I should be beating you. That one is not, I don't think it's up to that level yet. But that's what I think, Sha.
Okay.
Lawrence, what do you think?
Like Blessing was saying, toxic femininity, toxic masculinity goes into all, not just relationships as well, but even in terms of relationship within the workplace as well. As you being a man, you don't want to compromise too much because you feel like somebody is taking some aspects of you away. So it's almost like if you're compromising too much, you now add the polar opposite of what you've compromised to now make it look like, all right, if maybe you compromise in one area, the next area, like, no, I have to still show them I'm a man as well in that other area. So I think like Blessing was saying is about the communication and what you're willing to just say, you know what, I'll give you this little bit, but let's not talk about any other area because you don't want it to feel like you're giving away some parts of yourself being a man as well. And the same as a female as well. And you get this even in toxic. Even so, for example, with the whole toxic femininity as well, like I had this government is doing this whole initiative of they can give a woman's maternity leave. So a woman normally gets about 6 months, but they can give it to a man. But it's hard to find a woman that would actually give it to a man. And that's toxic femininity, is it? But in this day and age, you should be able to say, yes, babe, can I just take 3 months of your maternity leave and put it onto my paternity leave so I can be that stay-at-home dad? And these are the kind of conversations that can help toxic masculinity in the future as well. It's not about, you can spend 1 year and bonding with a child. Who told you that the man doesn't want to bond with the child? The man wants to bond with the child as well. Obviously, you need to do what's necessary as a woman. But when you're telling the man, no, it's a woman's place to be with the child, or it's a woman's place to do this, or it's a woman's place to do that, then he's going to feel like, all right, so it's a man's place. That means a man should always be a man. And he's not going to want to change that whole toxic masculinity if you're still coming with that conversation of this is how things should be, this is how things are ought to, this is how things ought to be.
Right. So final question for me, really, because we need to round up. But in the 1 minute that we have left, can I just ask you, Lawrence? I think child upbringing is very necessary when we're talking about toxic masculinity or femininity, because like you said earlier, you're an African man by birth. So most of your upbringing was based on African culture. Am I right? Right. So what do you think mothers, fathers should do to reduce this, whether it's toxic femininity or masculinity, to be honest? What do you think they can do in terms of upbringing of their children to just reduce the impact it has on society?
From growing up, I think it has to be equal opportunities.
Yeah.
From every area, from doing the household chores, from even the way you let the children dress up. I'm not saying let the boys dress up in pink. No, that. I'm just telling that conversation. But different things like let the girls go out and play football with the boys as well. The sisters shouldn't be staying at home to be doing the cooking while the boys are outside playing football. Let them both do what they have to do. So it has to start from a very young age. It has to start from a very, very young age, as soon as they're old enough to remember. From the age of 3, like let them do what the boys do, let them do what girls do as well. So that way they're not. So that you have to show them as well. It's not just about telling them. You have to show them as well. You have to show them. You know what? Daddy does the household chores as well. Mommy can actually do gardening. Like mommy can change cars, not just daddy. If you have to be open-minded as parents as well. You can't just tell your children and they're not seeing you as being that. You can't tell your children won't listen if you're telling them and you're not showing them. Like as the parents, show them, you know what mommy can do, I can do too. What daddy can do, I can do too. Like as the parents, you have to be willing to learn. If you know you can't change the tire, ask the husband, show me how to change this tire. Children will know straight away. They're like, oh my God, mommy can change tire. I don't need to go to daddy. It's not about go to daddy for this or go to mommy for this. If it's girly, go to mommy. If it's now something strong, if it's like money, go to daddy. Or if it's like something very, very strong, go to daddy. But if it's like, oh, I want to go out and maybe do whatever with friends, like they should be able to tell them, like, come to us for anything, come to us for everything. Don't just come to one person because he's the one, or don't be scared of daddy, or don't be scared of mommy, or even if you're punishing children as well. Don't let it be that the man is the one that will give the stronger punishment as well. Like if you're gonna, I'm not saying beat children, but if you're gonna do something to the children, do it in equal parts as each other. Don't have one good guy and have one bad guy, because they will be like the dad is the bad guy and the mom becomes the bad guy. So it's about what you show them, what they're growing up, and then in time they'll know that this is how a man ought to be and this is how a woman ought to be.
That was exactly what was going on. That was exactly what was going on at the back of my head. Thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you so much. When I was younger, my mom would always tell me and my brother, go, both of you should go to the kitchen and wash those dishes. She never said, Marvellous, go, Prosper, stay. We always both had to be in the kitchen doing the dishes. So thank you so much for your time, Lawrence. In fact, it was so much fun having you on the show today. We will definitely probably have you on the show again some other time. Of course, our time is up now, so we're rounding up. We just want to say a big thank you to all our viewers, wherever you're watching us from or listening to us from. Want to say a big thank you for your dedication to this particular program. Of course, you can follow us on any of our social media platforms: Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, at MZ Radio London and AP Radio UK. Please watch our videos on YouTube as well. You can keep them for whenever you need them. We've got so many topics like savings and investments and lots of them. Thank you once again for joining us. And last week I mentioned that there will be a program coming up for youths on this same topic. So if you're not satisfied or you have more things to say, then please look forward to it. On the 7th of August, we'll be having a program. We'll tell you more details later, but please do join us in that program. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful time. Have a wonderful weekend, and see you again next week. Bye, guys.